محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Today, we are in the last few days of the Islamic calendar in Dhul Hijjah. And I also have coming to an end of a chapter in my life. In that, in about a week and a half, I will be leaving Champaign, as I finish my studies here, and be moving to another community in Boston, inshallah. And so I thought it would be fitting to reflect upon my time here in Champaign as part of this community, and looking back at this masjid community, the Muslims here, and just the people in the community, and what that has meant to me, and also to look forward and project on what the community should do and can do as members come and go within the community. So I'll begin first by a couple of reflections and just giving my story of my time here in Champaign. And it began 9 years ago, approximately this time of year, when I came to visit for graduate school, and I came here on a visit. And when I first entered the airport here, Willard Airport, I took a taxi to the university, so I was coming in to meet some professors. And the taxi driver was a Muslim Moroccan brother. And so my first exposure, before I even entered the university, and my goal here is that it was an educational purpose to come to Champaign, Urbana, I met this brother and we started talking. And he told me, yeah, the computer science building is right around the corner, but let me just swing you by around the masjid and show you how close it is to the rest of campus. And so he just came in, went into the parking lot, we did a small circle, and then he took me to the computer science building where I had my other meetings. And that was my first exposure here to any community member in this community. So eventually I accepted to join the computer science program here for PhD, alhamdulillah. And I came back later and came back with my father to find a place to stay. And we came here, we found a couple of units and we were exploring, and then it was time for Maghrib. So we came here to the masjid to pray Maghrib together with the community. And we came pretty early, so it was still about 20 to 30 minutes for Maghrib time. so the masjid was entirely empty. Usually people would come in around 5-10 minutes and do their salah. But we were very early, so we were just alone and we were sitting down. And while we were very quiet, the masjid was very quiet, it's of course not as crowded as during Friday prayer, one of the sisters came in from the doorway and she opened the door and just asked, "Assalamu alaikum brothers, how are you? Is everything okay? You seem new to the community. Is there anything that we can do to help?" And the sister, by the way, is Sister Umrah. Just wanted to mention her that I still remember this, said 9 years ago. And that's all it was. She just asked, "How are you guys doing?" And we said, "Alhamdulillah, we were doing well. And if you guys need anything, please let us know." That was the entire interaction we had. We prayed, met together, finished our things. I moved in, and I began my studies. And subhanAllah, life goes on. I'm in the program, and I start integrating with the community, getting to meet some people. And somehow, my name gets mentioned to give a khutbah. And so I gave a khutbah back in 2014 in December. And at that time, of course, I still remember the topic was one of my first khutbahs, was about being thankful. And it's, again, very a very dear topic to me. And I think it's always good to remember being thankful. And here I am trying to be thankful and sharing my thankfulness with the community. But that khutbah itself was also very special, because not only was it my first time standing up here on the minbar and talking to the community as part of the community, but soon after, little did I know that my future father-in-law was also in the congregation. And when I later proposed to his daughter, he said, "I remember your khutbah, and that was one of the reasons why I think that you would be a great person to join our family." So, alhamdulillah, I also got married from the community. We've been blessed with 2 children, and life goes on. So I just look back in 9 years in this town, in this community, meeting all these people, trying my best to give back for what I have been given, doing my best as much to be part of the community. And I kept thinking about it, that this is a college town. And it's very common, very frequent that people come and go. They stay here for their undergraduate studies a couple of years, their graduate studies, and then they come and then they leave. Yet, despite this journey through a smaller town, there's still this sense of community that exists, that people want to and can claim this masjid and the people in this masjid as their community and as their brothers and sisters in Islam. And so I started to think about what I wanted to discuss in this khutbah. It goes back to the fact that we are in the Hajj at the end of the year. And the Prophet ﷺ gave his khutbah al-wada, his farewell khutbah, also in the month of the Hajj. So I thought it was very apt for me to also give a similar farewell khutbah. And the topic that I thought to focus on was, as you may have guessed, community and the importance of a community. And so I gave my story here, and everyone has their own personal stories, and they may be good, may not be as good. But what I want to focus on is how can we ensure and make sure that any future people that come through this community, through this masjid, through this university, to have this sense of community and belonging, and not only benefit from, but also benefit and give back as much as they can. We can benefit from everyone's here skill. Everyone has their unique abilities and skills, and we want to all use it together to build this amazing community, this amazing ummah in Urbana-Champaign, in Illinois, in the United States. So I don't have to go into much of the details about the importance of communities in Islam, but I'll just mention, bear with me for a few important points. That all of us right here are actually in a communal prayer. This is a community prayer, and it's a faridah, it's a requirement for all men to actually come to this joint event. So despite whatever you would want to do or wherever you are in the day, everyone's coming here on Friday at this time to have this communal prayer together as a community. And that tells us how important this is, how during the time of the Prophet, this was the time when everyone would interact with each other, and they would talk to each other. The Prophet ﷺ would give a khatara, a khutbah, a short reminder to the people on any topic that was relevant to the day and age of the time, from week to week. And so, not only is it a place where we can commune and we meet together here, but it's also a place where our children will be here as they grow up. Our future generations will be here as they grow up. How are we setting the foundation, building the foundation such that when in 20, 30, 40 years down the line, when a new student comes in through this town, they could look up and look behind and see, wow, this place is here for us, so that we could come here, enjoy our time here, have our studies, but also have this sense of belonging, have this brotherhood, have this sisterhood in this place which we call the masjid and the community center. So the essence of a community is, it's a social construct, and people who have similar beliefs, ideologies, values, and goals build a community. So you can build a community around everything. And here in the masjid, we're building community around Islam, around brotherhood, around education too. And Iqra was one of the first words, was the first word that was revealed to the Prophet ﷺ. And so I was thinking about what can I give, what can I benefit from and benefit others in my few minutes here with everyone. And I thought of three main points I wanted to share. Hopefully they're short and sweet, and you can take them and run with them, inshallah. The first point that I wanted to share with everyone, remind myself first, is that the community is only as good as its members. What does this mean? It means we want to improve and be the best versions of ourselves, and as a collective, this will make our community the best community in the world. And I don't say that just as a hyperbole, I actually mean it. And the Prophet ﷺ, when he had the revelation, the first people that joined, that became Muslim, these are the people that they're the ones that built the foundation of such a strong community, a strong religion that Islam spread to the entire world. And these are individuals. Everyone is different. Not everyone has the same exact set of characteristics. You have the Umar ibn al-Khattabs of the Ummah, the strong people. You have the more quiet people. You have the Uthman ibn Affan. You have the scholars. You have the warriors. You have all these different people that together, with their own skill set, bring together and build a community. But everyone has to contribute and be the best version of themselves in order to make the community what it is. And to do that, one action item that I encourage myself first and foremost and everyone here is that if something that you see in the community that you don't like, then you should change it yourself. Don't wait for it to be changed by others. And that's a very common piece of advice, so I want to raise it to another level. Rather than waiting for things that are bad in the community that you need to fix, if you find an initiative that you have that you want to be included in the masjid or in the community that doesn't exist yet, go ahead and lead and initiate it. Don't wait for someone else to initiate it. And this is for everyone, whether you're a student and you want a student organization, whether you're a parent and you want programs for your kids, whether you're an adult and you have certain things that you want to see, the way the masjid is run, the way things are operating. You have some things that you want and you want to encourage others and yourself to do it. If it doesn't exist, do it yourself. And if you can't do it yourself, then I encourage dialogue. Then find the right people to talk to have this conversation, to figure out what can be done and what should be done, and who are the right people that can help things get done. And so if you can't take the initiative and actually change the things yourself, the next thing you want to do is to talk about it and figure out where it could be that the initiative can start from you. And third, if you don't even know who to talk to or what you can even start to begin with, then at least have that feeling in your heart that you want such a program, such an initiative for the community, for the benefit of yourself and everyone with you, and that is the lowest form of iman. And so, if you can do it, do it. If you can't, find someone and talk to it and figure out how to get it together and initiate it. And if you cannot, at least have that feeling such that eventually it can manifest and give dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that was the first thing that I wanted to share with everyone. So focus on yourself and what you could contribute to the community, to the society. The second is the mindset shift. A lot of us, especially when we're going through our education, we're thinking about our lives, our future, and our career and our journey and the rest of our lives. And this is important. We want to benefit in ourselves, but at the same time, that's the first point. But at the same time, we want to have this collective mentality. We want to make sure that the sum is better than the individual parts. And we want to think and act like a collective over the individual. And a community is not a zero-sum game. It's not if I get something, you lose something. In fact, if I get something, everyone is benefiting because this program or whatever I'm doing that I'm benefiting from, it could benefit others as well. And so think big. Think of things that help not just you, but everyone around you in the entire community. And these are the foundational things that last long-term beyond your time here in this community or another community, in this masjid or another masjid. And these are the foundations that really stick. So when you think of things, if you think of something that you might benefit from, extend that thought, extend that mind, get a mind shift in how you can benefit yourself and others, and forward think, be a forward thinker. Not just for you and your age group, but also people who are older than you, people who are younger than you, both for the brothers and the sisters in the community, and beyond for the future generations that are not even here yet. And I'll give one example of that I loved in this community during my time here. It started as the general Ramadan iftar, so in Ramadan we have these communal iftars together. It's a great time to meet people, to literally break bread with people, and also pray Maghrib and pray Tarawih together. And a few years ago, one of the brothers had an idea that he noticed that there's a lot of waste that happens whenever we have the iftars together. And so he had the idea of this green Ramadan, this green iftar, which is a very simple idea in that we just don't want to waste food as we enjoy it together in this masjid. And so he conceived this idea. He found a set of brothers and sisters that could help execute it. And he went about setting up a station in the back in the multi-purpose room and encouraging people, don't waste, take as much as you want, go back for seconds if you need. We use paper plates that can be recycled. We measured exactly how much waste was done every single day. And right before Tarawih, we would basically come up to the member and say, today we wasted 1 pound of food, 1.2 pounds, 0.9 pounds. And we'd use this as a self-competition type to see how well we could do in order to reduce the waste that we are, as we enjoy it. And this was a very, very good initiative because not only is it from our sunnah to not waste food, not only is it from the sunnah to be green, to make sure we don't waste plates, we don't consume more than we need, but it also is a nice community activity where we all kind of came together to compete, to try to see how well as a community we could minimize the food waste and make sure that we were having not just a very fun and pleasant iftar enjoying the food, but also to improve the planet, of course, and to minimize the waste on the planet. So that was a very good idea that not just was something that he cared about personally, was making sure to recycle and not waste, and he found a way to make it more communal and everyone could benefit from it. And I'm sure we benefited, the masjid benefited also from reducing costs and so many other things beyond just what I'm employing. There's other initiatives as well that have been started, and we want to either continue them or at least resurrect them if they haven't, if they stopped. These are things like the food pantry. We have a food pantry at the masjid. There is the farmer's market where every Saturday there's a booth that's set up for dawah to tell more people about our masjid, about our community, about our religion. And we have volunteers that go out and do this and talk to everyone. There's program for converts and reverts, and this is very important. It's not enough just to give dawah, but also to support people in the community in different programs and initiatives. And another thing, again, very forward-looking that this community has, and I actually haven't, there's a lot of potential to do things in this community, is that there's also a cemetery for the Muslims, and this is very forward-thinking. When we all pass away, we want to be buried in a Muslim plot land. And so having a place where we could basically bury our passed away brothers and sisters, that itself is a very great initiative, very forward-looking initiative that is beyond our day-to-day life encounter. So these are just some of the examples that, mashallah, this community has already done and or is continuing to do. And I encourage people to think of more and better ideas as the time passes along, as your time is spent here in this community. So inshallah, I'll talk about the third point. So the first one was to focus on yourself as the individual for the entire community. The second is to think as a collective instead of as an individual. And for the third point, which I'll mention in the second khutbah, but before I get there, I just wanted to remind everyone, there's the hadith that everyone is a shepherd and everyone is in charge of their herd. And I think this is very relevant to this topic here because you all have control or dominion over your actions and your space within the community. And so take advantage of your dominion and improve it and go beyond and improve it for others as well. So the community starts at the individual level, so make sure you are committed in improving yourself and others. And inshallah, on the second part of the khutbah, we'll go to the third point. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, amma ba'd. So, no community is perfect. There are flaws in every community, things that we should always look to and improve upon. But I'm not here, especially on my last few weeks here, to raise issues that need to be addressed. But everyone, if they notice something is wrong, they should figure out a way to change it either by taking initiative or speaking about it or at least getting it. But rather, I want to focus more on community building. And one aspect that I feel is still missing, it's starting but it's still missing in this community, is engagement with broader communities outside of the masjid. And this is very important. We cannot live in a silo, in a bubble, and just expect everything to improve and be good and just be nice in this bubble. And so I encourage myself first and foremost and everyone here that yes, there's a lot of great things that are happening inside our masjid, inside our community center, and we should also figure out the things that are not going so well that we should improve, but also to look beyond this bubble and to interact and engage with our community, with people across from different faiths, different activities, with the university. There's a lot of things that can have that are outreach basically, that we as Muslims, as individuals, as community members really need to strive to do and become better at. And there's actually a nice story that the Prophet ﷺ shared with us, in that you could assume that the believers and the non-believers might be on the example of the story that was given, that the believers and the non-believers are on the same boat, and the believers are on the top level of the boat in the water, and the disbelievers are on the bottom boat. And so the believers are on top. They see the sun. They have access to the water, and they see where the boat is going. But the disbelievers, they don't have access to all this stuff. And so what could happen is that if the disbelievers, they don't want to bother or annoy the people above them, they might decide, let's dig a hole, let's make a little hole in this ship so we can have access directly to the water for ourselves. And as you might guess, if this happens, the entire boat will sink. So not only will the people on the bottom sink, but also the people above sink. And so the Prophet ﷺ is teaching us then that you have to be proactive. You have to start by sharing the water. In this case, the analogy here, the water is the hidayah. You share this water with the people on the bottom of the boat. You work together, and then rather than both of you sinking because of a small individual act, but together you prosper and you basically go towards your final destination. And so we have to keep this in mind, that we can't just focus on ourselves and assume that we're going to work within ourselves to always improve. We are living in the United States of America. This country has a lot of opportunity for voting, for voicing your opinion, for voicing the way that you want to live in, and to maintain your certain freedoms. But they're not externally are not going to advocate for whatever we need, and we might not advocate for them on a normal basis. But what we need to do is actually have this coalition in order to make the sum better than the part. And there's a lot of initiatives that are important to collectively work on. In fact, there's actually a event next week on the 29th, inshallah, which is an interfaith raw tools event. It's called Guns to Garden Tools Community Gathering to End Gun Violence. And this and many similar events happen in the community, but where is the Muslim representation? Where is our community's representation in there? Not only do we have to be there at the table, we also want to over-represent. That's how we get things done. That's how we get things done, especially in this country. And so, my third point, and I hope this is one of the sticking points here, is that we want to enjoy and benefit within our own community and make sure that we raise our kids and our community member here within the right confines and within the Islamic upbringing. But we have to interact and talk with these other groups, with these other communities, and make these mega communities toward our shared values and common goals. So, with that, inshallah, I wanted to end the khutbah on one quick reflection. So going back to the end of this year, the end of this journey, this is just for myself, the end of a chapter. And as a new year begins, there's a lot of hope, a lot of opportunity for change. And so I make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that whenever I am back in this community, whenever that may be on the horizon, that I come back in a time when there is no oppression in this world. In the time when this community is one of the best communities in this world that benefits itself and those around it. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to show me the kids that are in this community grow up and be the best doctors, the best engineers, the best people, the best versions of themselves for both the Muslim Ummah and for citizens of the world. So with that, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless this community and thank this community for everything they have provided for me and my family and for everyone else here that has benefited. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك اللهم لنا فيما اعطيت اللهم لا تدع لنا في مقامنا هذا ذنبا الا غفرته ولا هما الا فرجته ولا مريضا الا شفيته ولا ضالا الا هديته ولا حاجه من حوائج الدنيا والاخره هي لك رضا ولنا فيها صلاح الا اعنتنا على قضائها ويسرتها لنا برحمتك يا ارحم الراحمين. اقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه انه هو الغفور الرحيم واقم الصلاه.
الله أكبر ولا إله إلا الله وأن محمدا رسول الله. يا الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون والذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك أولئك هم المفلحون. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Can you please stay seated? I just asked permission from Brother Wali. Can you wait for 1 minute, please, guys? Brothers, please don't leave. Just to say one word about Brother Abdurrahman Mahmoud. He came to this community, and in all these 9 years, alhamdulillah, the community blessed by having him. He said about the community should also say something about him. As a Khatib coordinator, I put the khutbah. All these years, whenever he gives the khutbah, I enjoyed a lot and I learned from him. So please pray for him. from our also this community daughter Hanan for his children. We're going to miss them a lot. But he promised me when he comes next time, inshallah, he will give khutbah. And you are witnesses, okay? So wish him the best, inshallah, to him and to his family. Sorry, I broke the rule, but I asked the president to say something. I shouldn't do it.
No, that's fine. May Allah bless you. Thank you for your nice introduction. We just want to mention one thing here. We'll give you come in. Some of you come in without a mask, and we give you a mask. But then they go out and they throw the mask in the middle of on the grass. Please don't do that. Save it and bring it back next time. May Allah bless you. Also, there's a potluck at Lake of the Woods tomorrow. Tomorrow, Lake of the Woods, there's a potluck at one of the pavilions there. It's called It's called Elk's Pavilion. It's as you go into the park, go to the left. You will find us. It'll be at 1 o'clock, inshallah. Bring one dish. Don't bring too many. A dish, fruit, watermelon, pizza, something like that. Also, we have a sinkhole in the parking lot. Please be careful. Don't drive over it, or don't let your children be close to the hole. Construction is going well. We're about 10 days behind. So also, if you can donate a little bit to help the construction cost. Raw Tool community gathering to end the gun violence in Champaign-Urbana or in Illinois. It's on Friday, July 29, 5 p.m. Food will be served at 6 p.m. Please try to attend. The address is on the CIMIC app. Summer Quran classes for children. Please see Brother Sheikh Khalid or the Imam. Lunch today is gyro sandwiches, chicken or beef. So now the price, we have changed the price. Went up a little bit. It's $7 instead of $5. I'm sorry, $7 instead of $6. So we went up $1. Jazakallah.
Assalamu alaikum. Just in addition to what Brother Muhammad said about one thing to have is that Allah also is combined with the different types of Quran. How we call it benefiting from every day in the group. So, mashallah, we really miss you and we pray for you. May Allah direct you to all the good wherever you go. And inshallah, finally, the Ratul event will be Friday as mentioned. And they included the public prayer in the program. So it would not be nice if no Muslims show up for public prayer. It is very time there is no Muslim that would not be a good impression. So the public will be at 8:15. If you cannot attend all the events, make sure that you attend at least the public and the issue thing.
إن شاء الله.
خلاص
لا والله أنا كتب كثير.
Yeah, you need to give it.
يكتبها
الجمعة الجاية في جمعة، لا يوم السبت بكرة في حديقة الإفطار غدا المسلمين بمناسبة العيد. لا اللي قال الجمعة الجاية في مناسبة كذا اللي يسموها المؤسسات الدينية في المدينة مسوين زي المؤتمر جاء في مكان ما مسجد أحد المؤسسات الحاج في كم كنيسة يرجع لكم مع عبد الرحمن.
Your voice is the voice of a little kid, but your body is
Banish him. Right now, banish. I don't know. Banish. Banish him. What's your head? What's your
you promise something? Of course I do. And she promised, and then she broke. Did you make your promise?
No.